So listen, you guys, huge mass shooting today.
Yeah.
Don't be desensitized to it. I know you think the world record was broken. They've subdivided them into categories. Fox was all about. This is the biggest church shooting in 20 years. Just look, yes, go numb. Don't go so numb you stop watching television about this. The records are still bound to be broken. The magazine industry for a while was just Time, Life, and then they had to fragment into Ninja Quarterly and stuff. Let's look at church shootings. This was the biggest one in 20 years. And, that Chelsea Handler, you naughty girl. You didn't wait long enough to say Republicans are bad. You're so naughty. That hurt me. I hope it's clear I'm being sarcastic.
It's crazy how people have paid attention to, they know now the details before the news even really reports it. So they knew that he wasn't a Muslim. Right. They knew that he wasn't black. They knew that he was from the United States, that he was probably a member of the community because the news reported it like a shooter.
Right.
And just saying a shooter makes everybody know, fuck.
It's funny, first of all, how that was noticeable, and it's funny, second of all, how I was like, those are the details I wanted.
Yeah.
What color was he?
Yep.
What is this about? Which of the Lord of the Rings factions, is this in service of? There's no factions in Lord of the Rings. There's 2 factions. Game of Thrones. I didn't want to say Game of Thrones.
Mafia. Goodfellas.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's like, why do I want that information anyway? I wanted as a church shooting, I was like, please don't let it be 26 black people shot by a white dude because, but then again, then your brain gets divided down the middle into, and now you've become like some weird, fucked up twin sociopath because neither of you has a soul anymore because one of you is still making calculations like, well, at least it was a white guy, because if it wasn't, that would be even worse for some Rube Goldberg society machine. It's like, when did I get tricked into hoping different people were dead or alive in the first place, let alone what religion they are, what they were wearing on their head? Why am I hoping this is a redneck?
Because I do think that the first thing you think is, I want to know who and why, because I want to know if I'm next.
Yeah.
So I think that's like a natural place to go.
We feel like we're taking a temperature. We feel like these news stories that are they feel like we're watching like our country has the flu, and we want to know. It's like when I get too high and I start checking my pulse. It's so stupid, but it's and even one time I was at the emergency room because I thought I was having a heart attack in my 20s, and like the dude noticed that I kept checking he's like, "Could you do me a favor? Stop doing that." Like, well, why? He's like, "Well, because you're pushing down in your carotid arteries, so you're really fucking up the data. Like, and what are you gonna do if you notice your pulse stops? You're gonna call a doctor?"
Yeah, right. Also, like, you're not gonna pass out. I drove all the way to a clinic because I got too high. Jumped in the car, drove to a clinic, and was like, I'm having a heart attack. And then right before I got to the car, I was like, you don't have insurance, nigga? And that sobered me right the fuck back up.
You mean like that your focus went off of your diet onto your finances?
Yeah. I was like, even if you die, it's better than going in there and creating like a $2,000 bill.
On the way there, you're like, I gotta eat less lasagna. All right, whatever.
But you're right. That is where we are. We are at this point where we hear bad news and we definitely break it down to its core so we can figure out whether or not we need to go get that go bag.
And not only are we but really, it's like this guy who's sitting on his couch checking his pulse because he got too high. That guy isn't prudent. He's not health conscious. He's not. He has no plan, and he doesn't really even want to go to the hospital. On top of everything else, he's not even committed to hypochondria, because the reason he's going like this is because, the alternative is you just go, well, I'll just go to the hospital just in case. Right. I'll just risk, bankruptcy, or I'll put myself out there. I'll put more energy into something than my anxiety. But it's like, so we're in a hammock of anxiety right now. We got too high on let's say capitalism.
Yes.
I don't want.
Yes.
And now we're pushing down on our carotid artery with the fingers of xenophobia and white guilt, and pushing and pushing and waiting for the right signal through those fingertips to do what?
Something.
Dig a bunker? What am I going to do?
I think it's supposed to rationalize, and then you stop freaking out. Like, that's the hope. You're like, oh, it turns out he was a bad person. I'm a good person. I'm fine. I don't have to worry. You know, I think that's what's quote-unquote supposed to happen, but it doesn't really work.
Yeah, I think we're also hoping whatever the process is, it'll take 4 years.
Right.
And we did it. We're a quarter of the way there.
Yeah.
Because then we could just pull that lever so hard. It also has something to do with the fact that, I don't know, I remember when those beheadings started back in the, I think it was even before, no, it was after 9/11. But, the old days, that guy in the orange jumpsuit and he got his head cut off. I talked about it on the podcast before. I was like, I haven't done it since because fucking ISIS got way too good at cinematography, and I knew that I wasn't gonna. But it was like back then when radical like terrorists groups were like doing beheading videos, it was always like all fucked up and like some weird Fisher Price pixel cam, and they'd do some weird alpha matte on it to disguise their base, but it would be like a dude hovering in a cookie cutout or whatever. And I always like I would click on that stuff, and it did have something to do with wanting to know. I have no idea what data I would get from that stuff, but something to do with coping with death, because what could be a worse nightmare than you're some civil engineer or something, and you're overseas and you get pulled into it's that thing where you realize it could happen to anybody.
Yeah.
And then we start coping with strangers' deaths on the internet by going, okay, God damn it, there's a reason this wouldn't be me. There's a reason this, there's a reason why when this happens to me, I'll know what to do. Or there's a reason why when it happens to me, it won't hurt that much. Like, I think that was part of, I watched a beheading video because I think I kind of wanted to know, I wanted to see or hear some primate impulse that made me go, oh, I bet it doesn't even hurt that bad after the first.
What'd you decide?
Looks like it's bad. Looks like it's a bad way to go.
Yeah, I don't even think they're using the right tools for the job.
Well, yeah, their audio was out of sync.
They didn't even have a bounce sheet.
But then ISIS started doing fucking iMovie, and it was like, this is so unsettling.
Yeah.
With their little, like, they're clearly, and they're like...
I mean, even the name ISIS is so much cooler than the past Taliban, like the past terrorist names. It's like the name that we used to put terrorist organizations in movies.
Literally, yeah.
Also, it was Archer. Remember, Archer was battling
it was ISIS. I think they were ISIS.
They were ISIS.
I don't remember, actually.
And I had a bunch of Archer gear because I'm a super nerd. And I can't wear any of that shit because it had ISIS all over. They ruined it.
Yeah.
They fucked up Archer.
Well, if you're in ISIS and you're watching, leave us alone. Your job has become so easy.
Although, I got to say, we are really outpacing ISIS at this point. It feels like it's scarier to be in the United States than it would be in the Middle East at times.
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know what the statistics are, but I know for sure yeah.
I do know that a kid stands a bigger chance of getting killed, like, in a poor neighborhood in America than they do in the Middle East. Has always been, like, one of those weird statistics.
Well, you got it. Yep, we did it.
We did it.
I get so terrified when I look at like Middle Eastern statistics and like low rent Eastern European countries, because I know that rich people look at those statistics or look at those facts and they go like, oh well, you know, like it's like, well, it's like when you get a job and you don't like the job, and so you like start like you're showing up late. And then your boss yells at you, and there's like a tinge of like, oh no, but then you keep finding your limits, like it's like, you know, that like the monopoly guys running things, they look at us. Maybe I shouldn't say us. Maybe I should say you. And like I'm just like a piece of privileged driftwood, like floating like slightly on top with Trey Parker or something. But they look at the sea of taxpayers, voters, whatever the fuck they see us as, and they go, these people are so spoiled. They don't know how good they have it. Like in Czechoslovakia, they blah, 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 and it was fine. And in Iran, when a woman blah, 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 the blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you know that they're looking at that with cha-ching.
Yeah.
God damn it.
It's the what the market will bear idea. of like, yeah, make sure everybody gets a couple Gap sweaters. Don't take away their Gap sweaters. If you do that, they will riot. It's that idea of how much can you take before you really start to get upset. I thought we had a much better threshold. Right now it feels like, damn, we can take an awful lot.
Yeah, I think cell phones really changed it a lot.
I think we could slide right into the fucking shitter, man. Like we ain't got nothing to fight with. I feel so vulnerable. I spent all weekend just playing Minecraft. I was about to mime holding my lover, but really, let's be real, I was playing Minecraft. But then also holding my lover, and it was just like filled with all of these like dude anxieties because of the church shooting. I was enjoying myself. I went to take a shit. I look at the phone, and Jesus fucking Christ, it never stops. I don't get a goddamn break from these people dying. And then I'm like, I just want to be able to protect Cody. But you can feel this very like dark, cold, monolithic thing setting in that is all numbness and comfort and fear. It's where you can feel the fringes of your empathy, like they're just like disintegrating, because the solution that we use to connect to each other, we have these tendrils in it. And then if that solution is just acidified, then like the parts of us we're not. We all expect like this thing to be like some movie where people are turned into something, but it's like the first thing that happens is your connections to each other are amputated, and
for survival.
Yeah, and it doesn't even have to be a conspiracy on the part of any bad guys. It's just like this is what's happening to us. It's like necrotizing. Like we're going numb, we're going cold, and we're like. So, and that gives way for me like bouts of euphoria because I think your system's shutting down. It's going like, well, my lungs don't matter that much, so now my brain has all this glucose left over to remember my mom. Like a soldier in a World War II movie, when they go like, it's cold, it's dark, and then they got like this smile on their face. They're like, give me a sheepdog, Tony. And it's like, I bet that's based on real shit because I bet when you're dying, like your brain just kind of pulls back and then has these like bursts of like, yeah, but it's not that bad. Like, look at Super Mario Odyssey is awesome. Like I feel these waves of like, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And it's because I'm dying. I'm dying like as a person who like ever thought they cared about other people or trusted them. Like I'm becoming an animal. I'm becoming a person that just wants, all I worry about now is like, can I protect Cody? Or the last moments of my life going to be spent failing her? And so that's like part of the go get a gun white boy thing. And then I don't know, it's like I assume the trajectory keeps going where pretty soon I'm pushing Cody out a window or something and going, lots of nutrients in here. Because there's that noose doesn't loosen. It's not like I'm finding out I care really. It's like I'm shrinking back, right? I'm just going like, well, I just want to be with my girlfriend. I just want to.
I read a study that said people act and think more conservatively when they feel threatened. And Fox News is very dedicated to making people feel threatened every day of their lives. So it's kind of like it's this pipeline that's conservatizing people. One of the problems is for a while, researchers had basically no way to induce liberalness or whatever, because you can make someone feel more conservative or whatever, but you can't make them feel more liberal. But then they discovered recently that if you take them through a thought experiment where they suppose they're invincible and invulnerable and, can't be stopped by bullets and stuff, then they get more liberal. So it's like feeling comfortable and safe makes you more willing to share and kind of be liberal, but feeling that you're going to be dying from terrorists and stuff makes you want to get guns and ban illegals.
So if you wanted to self-destruct a species, that's the algorithm you'd use. You'd say, well, what's his kryptonite? Fear.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not good.
Lack.
So it's like when the people used to say like, oh, the dogs could smell fear. I'm like, well, he's gonna have a real nose full here because he's growling at me. Right. What do you want me to do? Like act like I'm not scared of your dog so he likes me? And a classic example is this last weekend. Like I kind of fell for it too, to the extent that I went through an hour-long rabbit hole kind of debunking it in my own head because it was like there was this, Refuse Fascism organization, and they got a full page ad in the New York Times, I think, and then who knows what happened first? It doesn't really matter because the internet is an anonymous carnival of fear and lust and just everything that humanity had a chance to bloom into gets sheared off as it slides through the 2-inch diameter tube of the internet. And we're all realizing that now, all too late. We're all realizing that Silicon Valley is cigarette companies, for the mind, that they're through no fault of their own. They 20
through
years later.
Through a lot of fault of their own.
Through a lot of fault of their own.
Well, they didn't. I mean, they weren't like Philip Morris going like, research shows. Oh, fuck it. Yeah, they were.
Yeah, they were like, hey, do you want to do something about these fake accounts? No, that will mean we get less signups.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So
no, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So like it's this thing happened where me trying to parse through this, even though I'll probably get details wrong.
It's cool.
It's not me trying to report to you. It's more me going, let me get this straight. Is this what happened? I could be very wrong, but it seemed like what happened is that first maybe the right started going like, what's this thing? What's this refuse fascism? They got a page in the New York Times. They got and then this really lame 90 IQ false flag flyers started going out where. But then it gets really confusing because the false flag flyers, a false flag flyer would be like if you were white and you were scared of Black Panthers, you would make something that said like, Huey P. Newton says, get a gun and go to Pershing Square tomorrow, and like, but you're white and you're doing that because you hate the Black Panthers. So, but then it gets more complicated because I don't know if I've ever seen this before, but like it's the internet. So flyers are free. You don't have to stop eating pizza to go wheat paste something on the wall. You can just keep fucking with shit, add a Pepe, airbrush this.
Yeah.
And also the Antifa knows that as well. So they're going round and round, and it just turns into this swirl of there's just all these fake flyers where it says, "Hey Antifa, don't forget to wear your red baseball cap and polo shirt tomorrow, so that the cops think that it's Donald Trump supporters who are attacking when we start raping white women." And then it was just like, and then like people would troll and go like, yes, that's right, we're gonna rape all the white women tomorrow, we're gonna kill all the white people tomorrow, don't forget. And just like, but you can't tell who's doing that. I went to like 3 Antifa, Beverly Hills. I was like, that sounds funny. Like I was at Antifa Beverly Hills, fake, like everything was fake. Everyone was faking someone else, and everyone was like spreading disinformation. And so then the weekend happened, and I was actually legitimately scared. I thought, I know a lot of this is fake, but that doesn't. All it took for that guy in Las Vegas to do what he did is apparently he had extra guns or something. We still don't understand why he did what he did, but also he was not dissuaded by the fact that it was a honky tonk concert that it was with Jeff Davis's friend that he was shooting at instead of his original plan. So so in that world, like, is there an ironic thing going on here where if you're not crazy but you are just filled with rage, at least you do have like a right brain aspect to it, so you don't do things like the Boston Marathon thing, like. Because when you put those things together, aren't you just scared to leave the house now? Because you go like, well, everyone's yelling at each other so much on the internet. They're like saying, "I'm gonna kill you. Come get me. I'm gonna fucking kill you. I'll be there tomorrow. I'm the Sharks. You're the Jets." And like, but then like basically nothing happens. And then the next day, it was just like I looked at the hashtag that they were, November 4th it begins or whatever, and it was like. Essentially 100% just like people probably, I'm guessing not in California, like probably in, I'm not going to keep on bashing like red states, like as if everyone that lives in a red state is like some kind of yokel, or if even if being yokel is a crime, if you're a yokel that doesn't want everyone to die, you're on my side. Yokel away.
I told you not to bring up them yokels, man. I told you it's gonna be trouble, man.
Well, it begs the question:
yokels, man,
can you be an international yokel? Must you be so localized in your yokeling?
Pretty sure those people in those German pants are also yokel.
What happened to the cosmopolitan metropolitan yokels. Why so provincial all the time? Maybe that's responsible for your yokelry. Maybe you need to get a passport, and maybe you'll
Yokelry sounds like an old iced tea slang word.
Obviously, somebody like that was just hating on locals, which means if you're hating on locals, then that means you're a transient. So you're either a rock band or you're a comic. So someone wanted to bash on whoever lived wherever they were, which they weren't going to be tomorrow, and they had to rhyme the word local.
Yeah.
Okay, pretty unimaginative, Louis Anderson. I'm sure you made that up. No, all right. So, so then it was just a bunch of, it was probably fucking Russian AIs, but or it was whatever. But like, it's people that you're picturing because you see the American flag emoji in the thing, and you see the little tiny itty bitty little thumbnail with a guy, and you think maybe it looks like he's kneeling over a boar carcass with a fucking blowgun, and they're just all patting themselves on the back and high fiving about how looks like they didn't show up.
Yep.
Which is crazy. So then it terrified me because that means we just invented didn't invent it, but that's a bunker buster. That's a societal bunker buster. I can now decide to take out any group by, like, if I hate Native Americans, you know what? Let's leave them for a while. If I hate
car mechanics,
if I hate car mechanics, so I could go home and I could now just create a bunch of fake accounts and say, and not even fake accounts, it's too much work. Just make a flyer that's with a car mechanic logo, a Jiffy Lube workers union with a fist, and there's just a big knife with across a woman's throat, and it just says, "Don't forget tomorrow's rape day, Jiffy Lube style." And then I just send it out, and then I go like, and then like I send it out on a million channels and go like, guys, I'm really concerned about this. Is no one finding this stuff except for me? I mean, this is crazy. I can't believe this. Some shit's going down. You know that 20% of people are going to go, yeah, that's right, I'm doing that. And then another 20% of the people are going to go, yeah, I heard another thing at work. And then you just wait 2 days, and one of two things happens. The Jiffy Lube people are like, these people are trying to fucking kill us. Let's go kill them. Or nothing happens, and it's a win-win because then you just go, oh, chicken, bok bok. This is crazy. Yeah. I'm terrified about this.
We're losing the meme war.
Right.
It's weird to talk about it like that, but there's not really another way to push it. I mean, I remember in 2004, 2008, like, Republicans know how to message. They say, we're going to call this free handouts. We're going to call this not tax cuts for the rich. And they've done that for more than 10 years, probably way longer. But they are so good at that. And then so they've evolved, and now their online discourse is all in service of this great dishonesty, and it just works really well. And then on our side, we're shitting our pants and blaming each other and smearing the shit on the other person and saying, you're doing this to me. And like, we're losing the meme war. It's really bad news. You can't, anytime you go on, and a big part of it's Russia bots, I'm sure, but anytime you go on Twitter, it's just like, conservatives dominate the discourse when, by all accounts, there's probably more liberals on Twitter than conservatives. This is
the thing that's driving me crazy, because having read Steve Silberman's book, we had him as a guest on the show, the only neurotypical that the autistic community says is allowed to neurosplain for them, because he spent years writing this big, thick book. It's a history of autism in America, or its diagnosis, which starts in the 70s because they were still cattle prodding people back then. But the history of the autistic spectrum in the United States, it runs parallel to the history of the internet. It starts with ham radio. It goes through sci-fi culture and all this stuff, because once upon a time, there were people who, in situations of like a party where there's like real punch and Cheetos and like eye contact, they weren't like they didn't have as much going up to the plate as they did at home on the ham radio or Morse code or these things. It's like the internet gets created on the backbone of like the silent minority of like geniuses in our country, people who because they're smart and because, as Spock knows, it's more logical to just pick a lane in terms of whether you're good or evil and stick with that and then abide by logic within that lane. and raise your eyebrow at the approach of how to protect your species and things. But at least you've decided, but if a human gets in a fight with a shark, I'm not going to root for the shark because I'm not a crazy person.
Right.
Those people, and that's what I mean by those people. Those people.
Who do you mean by those people?
Those people gave us the internet, and in there, like 13-year-old Dean Harmon's like starting to talk to people for the first time on a monochromatic monitor, and I get to lose my virginity at 16, which is something that never would have happened. I don't think to this day, if it weren't for these like internet chats combined with, well, let's get together in real life at the local Fuddruckers and let's like look at each other, wear name tags, and we can like sneak out to the car and try some stuff. We can hack our bodies by coming with anyone.
That's actually normal operations. If you came fireworks, that would be a hack.
That's a real hack.
And
if somebody gets herpes, that's a hack.
So it was a place to hide. The internet was a place where smart people went to hide from their moms, from the laundromat operator, from
people who couldn't understand complex thought,
from people who let's even put it even more objectively and say from people whose IQs were distributed along different parts of different receptors and transmitters.
Yeah.
People who fare better at a party, in a backyard, in a trailer, at the bar, and on a snowmobile. I just rattle off a bunch of things that you associate with right-wing people, but I'm in a penthouse cocaine orgy. I don't know, what is a left-wing thing? In a sushi bar. And a catwalk with David Bowie. Get him off the catwalk. What's he doing? He's going too far. You kicked David Bowie out of this catwalk.
It's like a CK1 commercial.
But like so then those and then MySpace and then Facebook and then your mom's on the internet and then your mom is the internet and then but at the same time so's your boss, so's your wife, so's your kids, so's your job prospects. When I moved to LA, I went to Kinko's to produce my screenplay. Like so we Schraub and I could hand them out at parties because we had email, but it's just not how you. It's like how you looked up old friends and like said like, "Are you alive? This is crazy." Right. Now it's just like the internet is the real world. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. The world that we're in right here is fake. That's why there's no audience. And now it's the worst timing because we need the Hawkmen and the Flash Gordon of the political spectrum, which is the smart people, and they excelled at the internet because they never had those specific kind of like tendrils. So their logic was like where they were actually able to say, "Hi, my name's Tom. Like I'm not that good at talking at the party, but I now am good because I know where to point and click." Now, everyone's pointing and clicking. That hasn't changed Tom into a social butterfly.
Right.
And it hasn't made him empathic.
Right.
So now you have a black woman on Twitter saying, hey, I'm mad about this, and we got to do this on Wednesday.
And whose kids are these?
We got to get our shit together. And then you have like this odd, well-intended white person going, well, I don't think that pound for pound there's any. I think technically what you're saying is as racist as saying this other thing. Thank you, Spock. Thank you so much. This is the exact right time for this. This is perfect. Logic is exactly what we needed right now because logic and it's great conveyors, bullets, tips of spears, arrows, fire set to your home. These things that don't involve understanding other people. Let's add to all of that. It worked 20 years ago. Now it doesn't. Your mom's on Facebook now.
Yeah.
She's an idiot. She's being talked
we
to.
Rap about her all the time.
Your mom thinks that headlines are truth. I almost do. I still can't quite get past it. There's an instinctive thing where I see like a font type that's like bigger than other type underneath it and a byline and a thing, and it's like designed in a way that looks like something that used to be called a newspaper, and I go, newspaper, and then I have to then go, fake newspaper. But like your mom is like newspaper. Like that, she never even gets that far. And then she just clicks forward to all her friends. They're terrified. Their porcelain birds are rattling. If 44-year-old philanthropist genius iconoclast Dan Harmon is cradling his girlfriend with his rippling biceps while his Iron Man Mark III suit is being assembled in the corner by Jarvis, and I'm scared, your mom is gone. Egon's gone bye-bye. She's just, it didn't matter if she started Democrat or fucking the Jill Stein voter. Your mom at this point is fucking like under the bed, and we're doomed.
Sort of. One of the things that they are good at is the old everything sucks and here's how we're going to fix it, and everything sucks and here's how we're going to fix it. And we are incredibly bad at we're fixing things. We don't have time to tell you what we're doing. If you look at when Obama left office, everyone had to come to his aid afterwards to discuss the things that he had done in office. And the list is 500, 600 things long that he never talked about. There's this crazy thing that Democrats have where they practice the humility in order to get the job of charity done, and then they don't toot their own horn. So there's a ton of legislation that the right benefits from, but you never hear Democrats rub it in their face. Half you broke motherfuckers are on ACA. You're the people on heroin. You're the people laid off. You're the people that this program was set up for. The middle class is liberal. It's the poorest of the poor that needed ACA, that needs Planned Parenthood and all those projects. But you never hear the Democrats cut to the chase and say, I'm talking to you. I'm not talking to just one person who gets $5 coffee. I'm talking to your broke ass who needs things like EDD and free college.
Yeah.
We don't toot our own horn because sometimes we're too busy actually doing the job. There's a little bit of hope and faith in there that says they'll figure out that we're the ones behind these great programs.
And look, man,
she never pushed her agenda. The current Democrats aren't pushing their agenda. Right now, the Democrats look like they're failing us. But the truth, in the press. But the truth is, we've stopped all these bans. We've stopped all this crazy-ass behavior. There are incredible Democratic leaders. They happen to be female, which is why they're not getting any play. Then they happen to be African-American, Hispanic, and Asian.
Gross.
I know, right? Here's the thing, though. We do send you the people that you're thinking aren't going to be able to do the job. One of the great things that this party does is send in an old black woman to get some shit done because the Republicans think they can defeat her and they'll be asleep at it. So that's part of the problem, is that it looks really dark, but on the ground, we sort of know we're out here. We're out here physically going door to door and figuring out how we can stop these people. We may not brag about it, and we may not have a marketing budget, but the truth of the matter is there's been some heroes.
There's probably 1 million of them. I mean, by definition, heroes they just end up getting suffocated. And
they weren't trying to breathe, though. And I don't mean to be Morgan Freeman about it, but some of us knew that when we got on that burning ship that was headed towards the town, that it was going to go down with us on it. And we don't give a fuck about that. We don't mind that. There's nothing more hardcore, more ride or die about saying, I did this for the group, and you can suck these balls. The dude who just did it for his family and ripped off a country so that his kids could have 100 million 50, 60, 70 years from now, that's not really a baller. That's not really a tough person. That's not a G. A G is when you're like, I'm fucking down to ride. I know this is going to get my head shot off. That's some Crispus Attucks shit where you're like, somebody got to start this motherfucking party. We have those people. We just don't talk about them.
That's the thing, is that I had to confront my cowardice and my comfort level being threatened when I was like, I'm not going to church. Went and took photos at the, Pershing Square and stuff. I was like, somebody's going to set off a fucking lunchbox bomb or something. And it's like, my therapist is going, that's okay. You're a pacifist. Is it? If you find out you're a pacifist because baseball bats come out, you're a pussy. like that's, it doesn't, it's too late to find out you're a pacifist. It's not. It's when everyone finds out they're a pacifist. But it's like, and she's like, look, you got to stop. You like, because I was saying, like, for 20 years I talked like Noam Chomsky, read half of one of his books, and I'm like, so left of anarchist, and like power to the people, and there's no such thing as race. It's just a division that's vertical. They're trying to distract you from the horizontal divisions, and we need to fucking like. But really, it was a fucking dodge, because it was saying, I was going like, yeah. Red election, blue election. Wake me up when politics gets real, because there's going to be people in the street beating the fuck out of each other. That's how you know when it's real. Bye-bye. I'm going to, I'm fucking, I was such a dodge. I didn't know it, but it was, and it's like, they're there, Dan. Tomorrow, people are gonna get, like, as far as you know, you have a feeling someone's gonna get their brains beaten in. Something's gonna blow up. Something's gonna get thrown, start on fire. You could be there with a blanket, put it out, help the person. You could be the person that they beat up because you look a little bigger than the lady next to you. You could just go there and walk the walk, like what you're talking about.
For the Black Lives Matter marches, what we wanted were white people around us. We wanted white people in the crowd, because we knew ain't nobody gonna get killed when there's assets.
When we love being a ring of white people around a bunch of black people, when it means that the black people are going to come over and play Balderdash on Wednesday, and we can teach them what a fucking trying to think of a mojito is.
That's not white people.
I don't know what a white cocktail is.
You got a full menu, and you pick mojito. I'd love to know about these suburban enchilada. Is that what you white people call them, enchilada?
a Chandler's Fizz. I had to make one up, but like, we don't want to. It's not what we don't want to. That's the other thing on Twitter, is like, it's like white people standing next to black people. It's always the funniest thing when, like, black people are like let's face it. God damn it! There was some example. I screen grabbed it because I was like, "This is classic." There was like a woman of color, if you believe Twitter avatars, saying like something like she's just saying like, it's worse on us than it is on you. It's you liberals are all waking up to this idea, but it's
very true.
It's worse on us. And then just this fucking flood, not a Nazi in sight, not a conservative in sight, not a Pepe, no alt-right needed, just because the clot that floods to that wound was all liberal white people going like, now wait a minute, this is not what I signed up for when I decided to care about you people. A little gratitude wouldn't hurt here. They didn't say those things literally, but the way they express that is just logic. They go, actually, I don't think that's true. And it's like, we can't give them this? Then that's bad advertising for the revolution. They're like, hey, truth to power, down with the thing, get the pitchforks to the church. Hey, after we finish this, maybe we'll have a beer together. I don't know, man. It's not a good time to. You want to yes and your throng. That's how Frankensteins get chased. Everyone goes. Nobody goes like, kill the monster. And Jews later. Kill the monster. That's a way to talk to a fellow monster killer. You have to admit, Yoshi, you're pretty stereotypical. I'm Japanese.
Yeah, there it is. It's remember how fun it used to be dark.
Fuck no. I'm jealous for all my life. Tell me about it.
As a
oh, you mean cynical?
Cynical.
Oh, sorry.
It used to be like, fuck this fucking new taco shop.
Yeah.
And this fucking
Gen
taco
X.
shop is bullshit.
David Cross generation, baby.
Right.
Janine Garofalo.
Right.
Flannel shirt, hands in the pockets, look at the floor. I don't fucking care. Spin doctors don't look like Kiss because we're fucking real.
That's right. It was a blast. You could talk
We don't
shit
wash our
on-
hair.
You could say, I don't like this juice. This juice isn't natural. I don't like this fucking wallpaper. I don't like this. I don't like that. that,
if I've heard of it, it sucks.
That's right.
Good sign.
You've never heard of this fucking band because they meet in an alley. It's only like 4 dudes, and they don't even cut vinyl.
Well, I'll listen to them while you're telling me about them, but if I find out someone told you about them, I'm not going to be your friend anymore.
Right. Yeah, they suck now because they make money at this shit, so we hate them. It used to be, we had a great run of that. And like you said, there was a ton of comics that came out of that era of being able to like really make fun of the world and where we were from a very elevated place. And now we don't want to be dark. Like if that's how you made your money, you're not really into like, don't things suck. I think that's how hard it is. It's so hard.
Well, it starts with Muppet movies, frankly. It starts with shit like that where it's like, oh, you can't hate on the Muppets.
Yeah.
There's a hip comedy person in that movie.
Yeah.
Like, come on, we all grew up on the Muppets.
Right.
It's always infantilization. Like, oh, come on, Goodnight Moon is the bomb.
Yeah.
Like the Goodnight Moon movie, brought to you by General Electric. We make cluster bombs. We also bring good things to life. We'll tell you one of those two things during this production of Goodnight Moon with Ted Danson as the moon.
Whoopi Goldberg as a starfish.
And then because you don't want to be on the side of bad shit, which the Republican right wing, the fear mongering side, the Skeksis, they have that advantage. They detach themselves from Gestalt. They don't feel like if they make the case that racism is okay in order to get what they want, that they don't worry about the like reverse Midas touch of, right. Oh, I'm going to protect my daughter, make sure she can go to good schools by hitting these talking points. And these talking points, it's almost like that. There's linguistics is where the atomic fission is that liberals think words are magic. We think that if you say abracadabra and you really believe in it, if you believe you're invincible, if you believe that Tinkerbell can come back to life, then she can. But no one wants to risk anything. No one wants to run up on stage and bring Tinkerbell back to life. The Republicans get to go, Tinkerbell's already dead. Who thinks that we should hang that person for doing it? Right. And it's really easy to raise your hand.
Yeah. Demagoguery. I mean, it worked in Rome, right? Like, it's a very tried and true tradition. It's very effective.
And so it's like, well, what are you supposed to do when how are you supposed to not become the thing you hate if the thing you hate is hating?
You can't. That's what I think. I mean, I'm not saying join the hate, but like, how do you beat demagoguery other than being more popular than a demagogue and being all isn't actually being a demagogue lame and aren't I cool and isn't there parties here? Like, I don't know. You can't be a spoil sport and say demagoguery sucks. This demagogue is not cool
because nobody wants to be told what to do, and if they, it's like unless by a demagogue. But okay, I hit rock bottom. I'm coming back up. I'm not going to do this to you. And thank you for being here. In lieu of Duncan Trussell, who's like also like I put him in the same drawer as you. You're guys that like, it's like what I'm doing is easy. It's like heavy and like I curl up in a ball, I suck my thumb and I sink to the bottom of the pool. And I associate that with like transformation, but I'm reliant on people. If you were down there going like, well, fuck this shit, I would be like, like we'd be dead. Like yeah. I'd be dead anyway because like but you're up there going like, yeah, but come on, fucking float, piece of shit.
I know our numbers are bigger. That's the thing. Is that I know that there's more of us trying to save the world. Than
I thought you meant the podcast numbers.
Well, now that I know that our numbers are bigger, yes.
But I do think
I'm much more positive.
I think that the key is it's like if the question is how do you beat hate if you don't want to hate it, because if you hate it you hate and then hate and it spreads. And then we're all so sick of hearing about you forgot the Rust Belt. You should be friendly to a hillbilly today on the internet. You should do like. There's something in between there. My therapist was getting at that. Like, it's like we have to be ourselves even more than we thought you ever had to be. Like the definition of being honest, what we didn't realize that it was spoiled. along with a sea of like badness that we could counter by, for instance, in the 90s culture going, yeah, but I don't want to buy Prel.
Right.
Because it's got a logo.
Right.
But like it was that easy to revolt back then. It's getting harder and harder and harder to revolt against hatred. It's becoming increasingly clear that the only way we're ever going to beat it is with genuine love. And we are constantly running up against these moments, anecdotally, where the trolls aren't smart, but because they're dumb and because we want to beat them and strangle them out of existence, we just keep finding out that we are full of more hate than we thought. And it's not like it's like we have to actually learn how to love. And it doesn't mean like just see some grody piece of shit that you don't like being around and pretending that you like them or respect them. Politeness is a big problem right now, or it's not a problem anymore because that market has crashed. But
we have bigger problems.
If we're living in the 1929 right now, the things leading to it that you would be learning about in history, culturally, one of the things would be politeness.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but we were always, like, the road comics were always right about that the PC thing. I know that the bad guys right now are still harping on that, about PC culture. We don't have the language to separate these things, but the truth is we started building we had a grain of sand in our oyster called, like, classism, and we started fucking swirling it around in our little mucus pouch and coating it with secretions of how do you do, ma'am, and nice to see you, and yes, I believe you're an equal. And now we got a big fat grody pearl of, this is a bad metaphor, pearls
It's a
are
great metaphor,
incredibly
though.
valuable and very smooth.
Great, very valuable though.
But
What's
it's
a pearl of
very disruptive. Yeah. Like it's a pearl so big that the oyster has burst open.
What is the pearl?
It's the Ragnarok.
Okay. Right, because the grain of sand was classism, and it kind of just built and snowballed.
It's the unspoken shit that we weren't dealing with in the first place. You know, we went from the 70s. I hate to Gen X bully everybody, but Brandon and I will tell you, we had nailed it around 1979. As we crossed into the 1980s, we were just about to breakdance our way into true equality.
It's true.
It was in all the papers. Gangs were breakdancing to settle their disputes. We had replaced shoelaces with Velcro.
Oh, yeah.
Michael Jackson had not yet been assailed by a conspiracy of liars. No, I'm kidding.
What changed, though? Because we did kind of backslide, especially in TV and stuff, right? Didn't it wasn't representation getting a lot better, and then just something happened and it kind of just got set back 20 years? Like, what happened?
I don't know.
Commerce is what happened. We had Wall Street crashes. People were pitted against one another that had never been pitted against one another before.
Right.
So at one point in America, you did have people starting to equalize and sort of make money regardless of who you were. Everybody was on the up. And then we broke some deals that we had, which were we weren't going to lay off the people in the middle of the country. We weren't going to do that to the manufacturing base. We were going to help those people learn computers. We were going to help those people learn automation. We weren't going to break unions, and we weren't going to take your house from you. We broke those three deals, which made the average American suddenly be very poor, and then they were ripe for the picking.
We started a war on the poor in the 80s. We decided to do that. We decided to deregulate. Right. We decided to economically. It starts with economic policy, tax breaks. You know, in order to do this, we're going to need to have the government not do as much. Okay, well, let's just have a war on the poor. Well, right. There's a lot more of them than there are of us. Are there? Right. When you divide them up by every little tiny itty bitty thing that you can divide them by, are there really more of them? No. Let's get them back away from Archie Bunker, where people are talking about the shit, and let's go right into Knight Rider, where the black guy is talking in rhymes while he fixes kit between adventures. And it's not a deliberate. I'm sorry if Glenn Larson is watching and he's like, God damn it, that was a progressive choice. They wanted that to be a big-titted woman, and I fucking moved society forward. I'm sorry, Glenn Larson. I'm not. I'm sure that's true, and I'm not saying. I'm just saying, like, it's about the ethos. It's like you see that happening on TV. That's the only thing I know about society. It's like Yeah, I don't know.
Also, it's an ongoing war. So what we're paying attention to right now is the viciousness that is coming in, but we're not really paying attention to how many years we have successfully held them back. So if you're looking at it I have to always remind myself from a civil rights perspective, we did a great job after the 70s, and we were able to hold these very evil forces back through the 70s, through the 80s, and then it got dicey in the 90s, and now we're not all the way back, but we have lost a battleground.
We had racism as a thing that we had figured out you should be ashamed of. That actually took a lot of doing.
Yep.
You and I were both born after that transaction occurred.
Yes.
So we don't even understand what it might be like to be in like 1961 and be like, well, yeah, but black people are like different, and like hating them is how I pay my rent. You know, like a good person might be like feeling that way. Like, we don't understand how that concept works because we were born into a world where we had decided at some summit called the fucking work of all of the civil rights movement that, okay, racism is officially bad. The villains have shown their true colors. We know how this works. Here we go. Welcome, children of the 70s, to the dawn of the age of Aquarius. Racism is bad. And then we're like, racism is bad. Racism is bad. And then our neighbor didn't return our lawnmower, and we're like, that guy's racist. Right. Or like, it just got too comfortable. It's like racism got so bad. So we agreed that racism was bad to the point where idiots, hateful idiots, terrible lynch mob-oriented, authoritarianistic sheeple, if you will, red pillars even, could just know that racism was bad and just write a letter to TV Guide and call them racist when they wanted TV Guide to change the way they did things.
And then that also coincides with that population suddenly gets money. They've been monetized since World War II. They're able to spend. We realize as a country that we can actually make money off of these people, so that being racist becomes inefficient. And then that also coincides with women also becoming wealthier. So what they do at the top is they sort of go, look, I don't have to just underpay you. I could underpay your wife too. And they begin to split us, and neither one of us are doing better.
And what do you guys got, kids? Whoa,
right.
What'd you do that for?
Exactly.
Why you go make another American for? You fucking gross people.
Right.
Like, oh, what do you mean? Where are you going? You going to get an abortion? Whoa, I never said you could do that.
They criminalized being a woman, which is the same tactic that they used with Mexicans and Asians and blacks.
Criminalizing a woman is a great way to criminalize being poor.
Right.
If you criminalize the woman in every family, the poor families are going to crumble before the families that can get a nanny.
Right.
God damn it, we figured it out.
But the good news is they left a bunch of holes in this recent attack, which is that because it's based on policy and because it's based on this sweeping legislation, what we can do is on a grassroots effort, hand to hand, talk to one another. No internet. Just talk to your neighbor, get involved, do those things, and they won't see that. One of the things that I always say is when I was working for Planned Parenthood, volunteering in the neighborhoods, I never bumped into a Republican. That's how I know we can succeed.
And it's like on forensic files, they go like they always use whenever they don't have DNA or thumbprints or anything, or you know, it's like geographic forensics. Always like they're like, criminals are lazy. Everyone's lazy, not criminals. People are lazy. Criminals are people. Yeah. If you were going to rob someone, how far from your house would you go? And they're like, oh, these are the 3 houses that were robbed. They ring a doorbell. You're under arrest. God damn it.
That's what they always said. If you want to find your mistress, if you're a wife and you want to find your husband's mistress, just take a walk up the block. Yeah. Because men are fucking lazy and they're not going to go that far.
Yeah. Well, Google his office and then look what hotel is. Yeah. So laziness. Hatred appeals to you by saying you won't have to do much, and so that's the thing. Is like, I haven't pierced that membrane where it's like something about love makes you like. It's like the way that I feel about Cody, feeling that about strangers is that's the solution. It's the way that we could beat them.
We don't need you to do that.
Well, I don't need you to rub your toes on my nipple and call me daddy, but it's all going to come out in her TBS show anyway, so get used to it now.
Call me daddy on TBS.
At least my fucked up shit's up here. It's gonna be me and Elijah Wood left with everybody. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out who the last straight white guy's gonna be that's like standing side by side with me. That's all of male Hollywood. I was like, who's it gonna be?
Ashton Kutcher.
I think Jerry O'Connell.
That's hilarious.
He seems like a nice guy. Is not cutting it anymore. Like we had a conversation at my neighbor's house.
He's a great guy.
And I imagine this conversation is going on all over LA. Everybody pops open a beer, and then everyone starts going like, "Well, who's next? like who do you think? And who's last? And who's things? And like the anecdotes that are coming out at these fireside chats among Hollywood elites, it's pretty amazing, and yet not amazing at all. Because here's the thing. Like, I don't incriminate myself by saying this because I never worked anywhere near him, but really, if you worked in Los Angeles, you knew everything that we learned about Kevin Spacey.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that to further vilify him and like high road anybody. I'm saying that to self-account and say, like, this stuff that is coming to light is stuff that I think the biggest... It occurring increasingly to me that actually this has been a Hollywood problem, and it's rooted in a gender problem. It's a magnification of the gender problem where the Hollywood problem is, which is this is about labor abuse in Hollywood. This is about
prostitution.
It's about the fact that Hollywood has had a free pass as a workplace. It has not bound itself to the same laws as Jiffy Lube, which is crazy because the guy at Jiffy Lube has to be very careful what he says to Brenda from marketing in the copy room, even though he's covered in oil, and I'm not. And it's like we're privy to more fucked up shit. If you knew the stories at Jiffy Lube, you'd be like, I don't want that guy changing my oil.
Right.
And it's not because we had a double standard. It's because everyone currently in Hollywood comes here as a pilgrim of fantasy and wonderment. Everyone has read the stories and the biographies of their favorite people. They've picked sides. They've decided, well, I'm not a this guy fan. I'm a this guy fan, and I hope to be like this guy one day, so I'm going to emulate him or her. And we're so focused. It's a community of workaholics. And every young squire that comes out is a workaholic, is saying like, hey, can you abuse me? Because I want to be Dolly Parton one day. I want to be Otto Preminger. I want to run Hollywood. I want to work for it's everything's so focused on the work that we are indoctrinated into a society that says, and then plus all that fucked up shit happens at the wrap party.
Right.
And we don't treat it the same way you would at a Christmas party for your tax company.
Right.
And it's kind of natural because it's like we are making a movie. It's not like we're selling paper reams at like Scranton or whatever. Like it's gonna be this thing that we all have to do, and then it'll be over. You know, like you kind of get sucked into this. It's like a tour kind of thing, or we'll just make it happen. I guess it feels different, I guess, than just if it's like, if it's Brenda from accounting or something.
Yeah, it's
also Brenda from accounting's never gone through a casting process. That's part of our problem.
Yeah, for
sure.
That
the very nature of our business is beef and cattle
market.
and the way you look and the way you look on film.
Well, you didn't talk right to that person at that party.
Right.
Every story you hear about your favorite people, no matter how pristine they are, all of those stories, if you really break them down, you hear the story of this is how Barbra Streisand got her big break. It's not she lifted a rock and threw it at a lion that was attacking
right.
Bud Friedman. I don't know. I'll look it up later. It's a conversation. It's like a quippy one-liner.
Yeah.
That makes it like there's no oil to change in between those conversations where you can go, hey, you suck at changing oil, or your Jiffy Lubes are not showing a profit. It's like, no, these movies are great, and then this studio is doing great, and like all these people are either getting famous or not famous based on legends of how charismatic they were. And if you already don't have a society based on reason and respect, and there's an industry based on charisma,
right?
It shouldn't shock us to be realizing that there's a lot of potato bugs under that rock.
Yeah. you cannot hold these huge rooms full of 20-somethings and then have a bunch of men making decisions based on that and expect that to work out.
And it's not just sexual. It's like how many, it's the goddamn, it's weird how people talk to each other sometimes.
Yeah.
Like casting directors' assistants talking to someone who's dropping off a package. It's even weird. Like if you would witness it and go like, that was a little odd.
Yeah.
But it's not like we're all out here being mean to each other either. It's like you're either that or you're like this paladin that's like all gleaming and charming and whatever. I'm beating a dead horse, but
what would be awesome is if we had men turning in men, which men should do, because men who abuse women abuse men. So if we would actually weed these people out, it would go a lot farther than waiting for 15 women to actually have to take this guy down.
It would go something like this. And I pull out this little list. Just go, Alan Alda.
And that's the thing, is that people say, did you know in Hollywood about these guys? And the truth of the matter is, yeah, we all know, not just in Hollywood, if you work at a Jiffy Lube, if you work at a McDonald's, wherever you work, you know the dude that's standing next to you that's being a jerk. It's just that we're not manning up. And that is the definition of manning up. Because you don't want to be a pack of dogs and you bring back a wolf and then the wolf come in to bite the other dog. You should have killed that wolf.
Yeah, it's like it feels like prison or mafia culture too, though, where you're like, because I'm listening to that Providence, Rhode Island podcast, and it's like there's a lot of guys with like these really sexy Rhode Island accents that even the fucking guy that's hosting the show is like, they sound manlier than me because it's like, I don't know, they just sound like. They sound like this, and I don't know, I'm trying to do it, and they sound like I have a cold.
That's how they sounded to me. It was
like, hey, what are you gonna do? You gotta, it's just the way it was. It's like you got a guy's got a problem. He's like, I got a bigger problem. You take care of the problem, and it's like guys are like, oh, it's like we're really like susceptible to that. It's like we go like, so I don't want to be on the wrong side of that. Not necessarily because we're like, I'm like Dobby in Harry Potter. I'm born to serve. It's like, it's actually the other part of you. It's the alpha part of you, I think, that like has the train coupling for that. Because you go, that sounds refreshing. A society that is built on callous hands and horse sense.
Right.
Because I just think about the times when I had a conversation with anybody, strangers in bars, grandfathers who were Marines and listening to, watching movies about these guys. It's like there's this boner you get filled with. It's a heart boner. It's like it's like where you go like, oh yeah. That's a man, and I don't. It's like I'm just saying cliches, but it's like it's important to realize that too. That it's like it's a part of it. It's not like you're a beta if you're afraid of an alpha. You actually more have to own the little alpha inside your beta. Because if you were truly committed to being a beta, I think okay, let's all be betas. In other words, let's think of the other person first.
Yeah.
It's the little baby alpha in you. It's that chimpanzee that's like, I'm a beta because I can't afford to be an alpha right now. Right. But that guy I really like the cut of his jib. He really gets shit done. I love that. You see how he just reached out and just grabbed that problem and just shoved it into a car.
Right.
Just cut its head off with a table saw and just dabbed his lips with a napkin. I don't know how manhood works. I'm making it up. I can't riff manhood tropes.
A real man dabs his lips with a napkin.
And calls it a napkin. That's my favorite part.
Well, Patton Oswalt has this. Did you see his comedy special?
Yes, of course.
He tells the story about the power lifter guy.
Yes.
And then the guy coming up and they're just like, Patton Oswalt is... Patton Oswalt is how I picture myself when I'm thinking and talking. So, like, if you ever that's my inner that's my avatar. But he's telling a story. Like, we know that Patton Oswalt doesn't want to hurt anybody, but he's telling this story about this time he saw this one guy lift another guy and drop him, and he exploded into blood, and then the guy went back to his friends as if he hadn't done anything, and it's like there's something eerie about the compatibility there. Like I'll speak for myself. Like I'm just like, at the end of the day, the reason why I would punch a Nazi or run from one has everything to do with what I think a man is supposed to do. It doesn't even... It's like... The reason why I'm anti-fascist more than I'm scared of communism is because my grandpas lied about their age to go into the Marines and fight fascism. And I feel embarrassed in front of their ghosts because I never helped them lay cement in the driveway. I was like, I'm going to go... I think I got homework.
Yeah, no, that's not, the deal. Manhood comes in so many different ways, but none of them are violent. That's what a dumb person does. There is nothing to do with being a man that is using your fists to hurt another person.
Well, right, like the black guy in that story just lifts the other guy up and drops him. And he explodes like a tarantula.
And he also did something that got the guy away. He didn't stand and engage the dude and box the dude and wrestle the dude. He picked him up, showed him his strength, and he dropped him and he walked away. That is awful. But he did try what a man is supposed to do, really, what a man is supposed to do. It's supposed to have a command of English that lets the other man know, I'm not interested in fighting you. I'm not going to be no bitch. But I'm also not interested in fighting you. Because what a man understands is that there's women, there's people around. They're going to be scarred by whatever you're about to do, the two of you. And you don't want to do that to people. Like, it's not manly to fight. It's manly to figure out a way to get the fuck up out of there so you can get back to your $60,000, $70,000 a year job. You're a man. Go to work. File the papers. Do the surgery. Don't be out in the streets like gladiators. We luckily have evolved to a point where you never have to hit another man. You never have to hit one. You can get in your car. You can drive off. And when cops show up, because they're armed men whose job it is to suppress shit like that, they will ask you, what the fuck were you thinking? Don't strike another man. You're a grown-ass man. They're not going to side with you. No one is ever going to look at you and go, I'm so glad you punched that Nazi. And if they are, they're not right, dude. That's not a man. A man figures out a way to buy the Nazi's house, flood his bathroom. You don't want to be the man that is fisticuffing it. You want to be the man that's like, haha, motherfucker. No more mat for you.
And I'm only asking these questions because to bring it back to the other thing, the internet thing. It's like we were also raised in a culture where information will set us free, where the bad guys are zip-lipped and they don't like communication, and that they do their work in the darkness, and the good guys shine spotlights, and they go, in the 80s movies, the nerd who takes power always does it by going like, can I get everyone's attention? I'm a nerd, and I just wore a mask to trick a woman into letting her eat me out. So let's put a pin in that. That movie's problematic. It's all every single movie like that from the 80s. There's always this scene where the cafeteria's attention is directed, and forget about like the teenage culture. It's even also just like every hero myth that we have so far was always about, we got to get the word out. Oh, look out the window. Look, all the people, they got the word.
Right.
Or the tape plays, and then you hear the wiretap of the senator going, you think I care about these animal people? and everyone goes like, wow, I heard the truth. The movie's over.
Right.
No more lies. Wow, those lies were building up for 90 minutes and 20 years. Now enter an era where no more lies. I heard it over the loudspeaker going home. And now we're just like, every morning we get up and we're like,
right.
Stop with the truth and the lie truth and the truth lies and the like it doesn't. So now what? Now we're all thinking about punching people. Because I was like, ain't no muckraking going on. If you like prove that bologna's made sloppy now, no one's going to give you a Pulitzer. Maybe they will, but maybe the Pulitzer people have their shit together. I have to say, it just doesn't feel like a recourse to heroism anymore.
Yeah.
To go like, aha, look how dark the world is. I found some darkness over in this corner with my flashlight. Everyone's going to go like, no shit.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's what used to be.
Why don't you conserve those batteries?
It used to be fun. You'd be cynical and you were pointing out shit that was really interesting because it was dark. And now, no. Now we don't want to see that darkness. We're dealing with our own darkness.
Fuck. All right, but
we got this.
But we're gonna learn how to love.
We are gonna learn how to love.
And I'm gonna love people
It's easier.
Like by loving myself and like not thinking of myself as like the end all be all of things. That's like my therapist is like all this drama, like, oh, you were an anarchist and now you're a pussy, and like it all has to do with you. It's like it doesn't.
It's too hard.
Like you're too. It's just like be other people.
Yeah.
Just like feel you're an obscure person. You're just a regular guy. Like you're going through changes. Society's going through changes. You're moving along with it. Like you don't have to like have. You don't have to be the best at something and the worst at something, and this doesn't have to represent everything. It's like you're just a dude, just like fucking. And now the challenge is don't use that as an excuse to like avoid processing. Like now you have to go, I'm afraid of this. I like this. This makes me sad. This makes me angry. I could be wrong. I was wrong yesterday. Blah blah blah. And it's like kind of a challenge to.
It's
narcissists.
A trip because Facebook was a great friend that showed up and had a bunch of stories to tell, and it got really cool. And then as we all built it up, and Twitter's the same, as we all built it up and gave it all this information so that it could love us more, we discovered that it became bipolar. And now when you listen to your old friend Twitter, your old friend Facebook, they're really only focusing on the roughest of the rough, and that is not reality. I took a week off. I didn't log in, didn't clock in, didn't use my laptop for anything other than writing. And the world did not change. Nothing happened. My brain got better. I started to see more shit out there. But that's part of the problem, is that new TV of the laptop and the computer has sort of got you able to see the bad that you wouldn't have seen before. And it's not that bad. It's really not that. I know it looks and sounds so scary when you look at it. But the truth of the matter is kids are still going to school safely every morning. Doctors are still saving lives in surgery. Puerto Rico's fucked up. But for the most part, America still has, it still has itself.
Don't normalize.
I'm not normalizing at
You
all.
black people are always normalizing.
Well, that's one of the things. It's like, yeah, if you're black,
just
you've been
all of it.
You've been on the shit for like 4 years. We've been inundated with lynchings and shootings and hanging, and for a second you really had to be like, good God, if I walk outside of my house, am I going to get murdered? The truth of the matter is, they're hyping you, man. They're trying to make you feel like there are more police shootings than ever. They're trying to make you feel like there's all this other shit going down, and there's not. And if there is, it's because, like you said, we're in the middle of sort of a change, and it looks a little rough right now. But it's not like what we're looking at.
But those mass shooting statistics are spiking, right? Like there's
I don't know about spiking. They're going up, but there's been the thing is
more people to
it's
shoot.
Not mass shootings though. It's regular sized shootings that kill most of the people.
Right.
Like I mean, there's a shooting with about four plus victims every single week, and has been basically for 2 years or something. Like. That's what adds up, you know? I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a mass tragedy is a mass tragedy. But, like, at the end of the day, if you're talking about loss of life, it's not just mass shootings that we have to worry about. It's, car accidents and mass shootings and heart attacks.
Right.
Healthcare.